So I recently tried deploying Next.js application to Azure App Services, and it was not simple. I initially thought that I'll just build the application and deploy the packages to the Azure App Service, but it was not as simple as that. It took some time for me to figure out that there are several ways in which the Next.js application can be deployed. One of the simplest one is to just deploy the code and let the Azure App Service take care of the installing the npm packages and starting the server. So first, we are going to create a simple Next.js application. After that, we'll be creating app service in the Azure. We'll make sure it is Linux app service. And after that, we'll be setting a startup command, which is the most important part of it. Once the app service is set up correctly, we'll be installing Azure tools in VS Code and deploying the whole repo as the code. Let's create the next application with the create next app. It's going to take some time, and we can see that it's been created and it's also started in local. Let's verify that it's working as expected, and we can see that it's been started successfully. Let's go to Azure portal and create an Azure app service. Make sure that you have active subscription. We'll be selecting web app. We'll be creating a new resource group. We can give any name we like. Let's give our app some intuitive name. We'll be selecting Node 24. Linux is the only supported system. We'll be selecting US. And as for the pricing plan, we'll be selecting basic B1. And that's it. We'll click on review and create. Click on create. It will take some time to run the deployment. We'll have to wait for a couple of minutes here. So now it's created. Let's click on go to resource. Let's click on browse to see the default application. It took a lot of time for me to load this application, so I just sped up the part. Here you can see that it's built with Node.js. Okay, so moving on to the next step, we are going to be installing Azure tools in the VS Code. This is the extension. Let's click on install. It will take some time to get installed. I'm speeding up the part where it's getting installed. Okay, so it's installed now. Let's click on that. It will require us to sign in into Azure. Let's click on sign in. It will redirect to a browser where we'll have to sign in with our Azure account. I'll skip the sign in process here, but that's just a normal Microsoft sign in. And if we go back to the Visual Studio, we can see that we need to select a tenant. Okay, so we can see our subscription here. We'll select Azure App Services, and this is this app service that we created. We'll click on deploy. And let me try deploying. Right click, deploy. Select the folder. Remember to select the code folder. Select deploy. It will bundle the application and deploy it to the app service. It will take a couple of minutes here. So the deployment process took a little longer than I expected, but it is complete now. It's time to set the startup command. So we'll go to configuration, stack settings, and we'll set the startup command as npm start. Let's go to deployment center and let's check out the logs. We can see that the recent deployment is there and we can see the activity. In the code deployment, it runs many steps. For example, here it is copying the file to intermediate directory, then it is downloading the Node.js. It's using Node 24. It's currently running the npm install. So at this point, it is very important to understand that Azure App Service is going to take a lot of time. What I've noticed is that it takes around 15 minutes to complete this deployment process. It runs many commands. Only after that, it will copy all the extracted folders into the main site folder. Keep clicking on the show logs to know the latest logs. Okay, it seems that our deployment try failed, and it is very important that we read the logs. And here it seems that there is some error with the HTTP connection. I can see some TLS connection errors. And we can see the same status after refreshing the deployment logs. It failed. Let's try to deploy it again. Let's right click on the app service, deploy, wait for a few minutes to get it deployed. Let's head back to Azure to see the deployment logs. We can see the latest deployment here. Let's see how it's going. Click on show logs. I fast forwarded the whole process, but for me it took around 50 minutes. We can see all the steps the deployment is doing in these logs, and these are very helpful messages because if something goes wrong, we can refer to these logs to understand it. Okay, it seems that it completed the deployment, and here I can refresh to verify that, and here it's saying that it succeeded. Right. Once the deployment is complete, the server will start, and even the server needs to do some steps. So let's go to the log stream and see what it is doing. Here we can see the container started. It's using the Node.js version. It is updating the certificates and whatnot. So after several minutes of waiting, it actually failed. So I did the deployment again, and so I've skipped that part, but these are the logs from the latest retry. So it is running next start, which is good, and we can see that it successfully ran and it is running at 8080 port. And here also we can see that it is successfully deployed. So after two failed attempts, it is finally working. Okay, so let's try changing something and redeploy again. So I'll be changing this title. Click on the extension, right click, deploy, wait for 2 to 3 minutes. Go to deployment center, check out the logs, wait for 15 minutes, keep refreshing. Once it is succeeding, go to log stream, wait there for a few minutes, check out the logs, and once the server has started, as we can see here, we can verify by reloading the browser. Here it is. Okay, so there we go. This was the session to understand how we can deploy Next.js application to Azure App Service. It is not the most intuitive way, but this is the workaround that I could find. Thank you for joining me in this video. See you next time.